Hello, folks. My name is Jim Worthen. The show is Worthen One. We're here on Channel 17, Cox Cable on the South Coast, every day, 2 o'clock, and then on Friday, every weekday, 2 o'clock. Then on Friday, we have another one at 7. But I always use this line, as my sainted brother, who was much older, and he was kind of a bohemian jazz aficionado, and he would always say, "That's just the first verse." And so that's just the first verse. You can see us on the internet, on TVSB website. Go to the bottom, last on the list. I don't know why they say it has something to do with the alphabet, or Worthen One, and you can see this show and probably 10. Go to YouTube and search Worthen One. You can see this show and probably 10. Reason for that is our discussions, our guests like today, speak to a larger audience than just Cox Cable, Channel 17 South Coast. So you can, if you record it and see it, you can have your friends in Istanbul. In fact, my guest today was watching it about 3 months ago. Where were you?
When I was in Tanzania.
Father Bob from Greek
Yes, sir.
Orthodox Church, the Greek Festival. Let's follow that. What were you doing in Tanzania and calling me?
What? You called me. I think I was calling you back.
Oh, yeah, but I called you a week before.
Well, we have a well drilling project in Tanzania. And when we were very interested in helping the Orthodox churches there, and a saintly man named Alex Haimanis asked the bishop, "What do you need?" And he said, "Water." So more than anything. So that poor little Greek immigrant who was a bartender figured out how to buy drilling equipment and how to get a team trained. And we set up this well drilling ministry there with indigenous people that are now a beautiful team that go around the country drilling wells.
Yeah, we're blessed with potable water.
Yes.
That's not true almost anywhere in the world. And I may be wrong, but I think the biggest killer of people under 50 is bad water and the diseases it carries. So, how long did you spend there?
We were there for 3 weeks. So when we were just, we weren't actually drilling any wells. We were just overseeing the program and seeing how it was going. Visit the 2 churches that we actually built down there, and make sure that everything's running smoothly.
So this was of your diocese, or what? It wasn't the Greek Orthodox Church up on San Antonio Road only.
It was, well, it started with our parish, and then there was another parish in Irvine, St. Paul's, that also joined in the project. Said this is a magnificent idea, and they've done a lot of work as far as raising the fundraising efforts, and also doing legal work and doing the nonprofit incorporations that had to be done both in Africa and here in order to make that happen. So between our 2 parishes, yeah, we've really done amazing things. Well, by God's grace.
Yeah. We'll come back to the use of money. The Greek Festival is on, what's the date here? The 28th and 29th. That's
Yes,
a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir.
In fact, I think I promised you we'd run this show for the whole 2 weeks till then to remind people.
Fantastic.
And 2 o'clock on Friday and to 9 and 11 to 9 on Saturday. Chicken barbecue, all the things we got 4 years ago at the Greek Festival in Oak Park and forever before that.
All the ones that people demanded come back. So definitely have the souvlaki, aka shish kebabs, everybody's favorite gyros, all of the pastries that you're used to, pasticcio, one of our dishes that's a casserole that people really love. But everything this year is a la carte. We found that there was a lot of bottleneck and less demand for the full dinner plate. And we wanted this year, we wanted to allow them more opportunity to be able to walk around and mingle and enjoy themselves. So we wanted things they can carry with them. So everything is more of an a la carte basis.
So I don't have to stand in line for an hour to get a gyros.
I hope not, but if the whole city turns out, you might have to wait a little bit, but it's worth it. And that's the thing.
You didn't correct me, gyros. I don't speak Greek.
We hear it all.
I have trouble in my Bible studies because I don't read Greek either. And here, it's terrible when you're with a group of 11 men and 2 or 3 of them are ex-pastors and they've read the Bible in Greek. Wait. No, it's very enlightening. So when do you start? Do you start serving food on Friday?
Start serving food on Friday, full bore.
So
and we're at 2 o'clock, and we're expecting big crowds because there's been a lot of chatter of people that are excited that it's coming back. I saw on your screen before we started, it said we're back.
Yeah.
And everybody, when they hear that, they've been very excited, and there's a lot of chatter on social media saying that people are going to show up and be a part of it.
Well, you haven't been here as long as I have. Nobody alive today has been here as long as I. And at one time, there were 7 festivals in Oak Park. Everything, the 2 big ones was the Greek, and usually before it, the French. And you're all alone now.
All alone. The French festival is gone as well?
Yeah. No, there's nothing at Oak Park now.
Oh my goodness. I understand there was a whole ethnic festival committee that was set up to make sure they were all happening. But for some reason, I know the Greeks started it and everybody else jumped on and said, that's a great idea, we should do that. Yeah. And for whatever reason, they went their way, but we have the staying power. People have always loved the Greek festivals.
Well, you've been around longer than the French and the Irish, and the Irish festival was the 3rd biggest in those days, but there was a Oriental festival, there was a Scandinavian festival. Every ethnic group began to follow you to have their own festival, and usually their festivals were one day and kind of walk around and learn about the culture more than the food and pageantry. Now, you're going to be, describe where you're going to be. I'm on Stearns Wharf.
And you head east towards Chase Palm Park, and if you pass the Carousel House on the left, then you look catty corner, and there's a big field right by the beach, and that's where we'll be set up.
And if you keep going and going, you get to the cemetery over in Montana.
Stop before then.
Yeah, for the audience, there is a problem on Carrillo if you go all the way to Montecito and come back. It'd be much better to come down Chapala and from State Street because of the construction at the cemetery over. And so just traffic warning.
Thank you.
Because we want you all to get there. The other thing that's so great is parking at Oak Park.
That's what I'm excited about.
At Oak Park, I sometimes had to park almost up to De La Vina Street and walk all that way down, or fight with the tennis players to get their parking. And
the first time I came to the Santa Barbara Festival, after driving over an hour to get there, then we had to drive around for a half an hour to look for a parking spot. So I'm really glad that it's a place that's a little more accessible this year.
My first Greek festival was at Earl Warren Showgrounds about 30 years ago. And there was a cutoff at 5 o'clock. And till 5 o'clock you could get your tri-tip sandwiches and beers. And I remember at 4:45 getting 5 beers and 3 it's for the people back at the table.
Right. At one point, I believe it was all you could drink, even.
I don't think there was a charge for the beers.
Amazing.
But there was a charge for the sandwiches, and there was big entrance charge. I think back in those days, even $10, $15 was big. And there isn't that today. I think there's a...
Well, and just for the record, there is no free beer. So
yeah.
just to make sure.
And nominal entry.
Yes.
Very nominal.
Yes.
Think 5. Just have that in your mind, and we can't talk about whether that's quarters or whatever. They don't allow us to quote prices on the...
No problem.
But you don't get a stamp and have it pay for 2 days. You have to each day re-up.
I don't know how they've worked that out. Maybe they'll have 2 different color wristbands, but I'll tell them to keep an eye out for you.
Well, it's a fundraiser for the Greek Orthodox Church.
Yes, sir.
It's probably the biggest support of your church next to the parishioners. Is that accurate?
Yes, we've done, it is the biggest fundraiser that we do, for sure, by far. And by the grace of God and then the generosity of our parishioners, we've been able to manage since COVID, just with the generosity of our parishioners.
No.
But now we're finally ready to a point where we can bring the party back and offer it back to Santa Barbara. So now we could say this is going to be our return of our big fundraiser.
Was it 2 or 3 years during COVID that you offered, for the Greek festival, you offered pickup meals,
Right.
And I always was too late. Either they were all gone or I hadn't made a reservation, but you had to drive up and they brought it to your car.
Right. Yeah, well, that's it shows people's dedication to the festival even. People were, the first year they understood, but then people would call up angry. When's the festival? Is there a festival this year? We want the festival. Well, so we would pacify them by at least allowing them to come up and have the food. And people were appreciative of that. But every time they picked up their food, they said, when's the festival coming back? And we're glad we were finally able to announce that we are.
Are you going to be dancing?
Of course. You can't keep me from dancing.
No, weren't you a dancer in your previous life?
I was.
Taught dancing and danced, and so you went, as my recollection, and we're not going to go through your whole obscene biography, but
thank you.
You also were a techie.
I was.
Programming and using technology when it was, I guess it still is, ones and zeros. I'm a little worried about this new AI. I'm worried about, because everybody thinks it's going to be so great, but it's still garbage in and garbage out.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I've heard that there are confession robots and prayer robots, so that you can even put a little collar on and they can come up. So maybe that'll take some of the work off of me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave how they're listened to up to the Lord. Oh, you're a robot? Go away. Although I'm sure God created robots too. He created everything.
Yeah, at least the ability to create them.
Yeah. So you will finish on Sunday. We'll walk through it, but when you'll finish on Saturday, and then you're inviting everybody up to San Antonio Road on Sunday to hear you give is it a homily or a sermon?
That's interesting. We just had that discussion in Bible study today. So properly in Greek, it's homilia, which translates as homily.
Yeah.
But sermon, I mentioned as my homework, I have to look up the origin of that word. But you only hear that in America. It's properly called a homily.
Yeah.
But we're in America, so we say sermon.
Yeah, the Protestant churches here use totally sermon. The Catholic Church still uses homily, and I was surprised. I had to go, sadly, to 2 full Catholic masses of funerals in the last 3 months of people I knew, and I was shocked by the Catholic Church is so Christian. I mean, they actually
that.
blood of Christ and
Yeah.
resurrection and for your sins.
Yeah, they even said Jesus a few times, I bet.
The shocker, though, was one of my friends was cremated. Well, so, they usually bring the body of the person to the front of the church in a very formal funeral, and even have a viewing sometimes. And all of a sudden, 4 guys walked by me with a glass case that was probably 24 inches by 24 inches and an urn in it, taking the body of the person forward for the funeral mass. I thought, that's modern.
Interesting, yeah.
I can accept it. Hi, Billy.
Interesting.
Yeah. So people will be welcome to come and listen to your homily.
Absolutely, we'll encourage them. We even have directions to the church there at the festival, so people know where it's at and how to get up there.
It's a beautiful facility, it is.
It's a magnificent retreat place, and it's peaceful, and it has a wonderful view up where it is. The only thing is that in order to provide that environment, you have to move further away up out of the city. So we're up on the hill a little bit. So
great
you
back
don't pass
deck
it by.
looking at the sunset in the valley of it's in fact,
It's magnificent.
when the TV station was closed due to COVID for much too long, but we did 4 shows with your grace on the back patio.
Yes,
One,
I remember.
and only one was with you. But it was a blessing to be able to continue to produce new shows, and I thank you for that.
That's great.
But I have every once in a while thought about, my church is way over in Montecito, and sometimes I drive through the Presbyterian Church parking lot at State and Constance just for a devotional and a prayer, and being I used to be a member there, praying for all the people and that ministry at State and Constance, and it's a real hallmark. A lot of that sanctuary has been modernized, blessing from God, and there's concerts and symphony and Christmas and the Messiah sing-along and everything there, and it's a great facility. But yours, I've never been inside your church. I've been around it many times.
How did we let you get away without getting inside?
I don't know. You're usually closed on Thursday. you're
Whenever I'm there, the front door is open.
Yeah.
So we'll have to take you in next time you come.
I found your office once. I had to walk around opening doors. We were supposed to meet, but I didn't say exact time. And I opened doors. Father Bob, finally I found you have a little cubicle. You don't have a gigantic office.
Well, my real office is across the way where you haven't been yet. So.
And I ask this because you're so secluded. Isn't there also a rectory or a home there where somebody's there living, where there's some natural security?
No, there was a home right next to us, which is now part of our property. We purchased it, and we remodeled it and rezoned it, so it's now our educational building. So it's where we do our Sunday school, and weekend if somebody needs a room to prepare for like a wedding, they can use that, but it's normally our Sunday school room.
Oh, so your security is people aren't going to drive that far to give you any trouble.
We have a security, which I will not divulge on air.
Well, fortunately it's necessary today.
It is, unfortunately.
As we were saying, people are going to be welcome there anytime, but also this Sunday after the Greek festival. So let's, Michael, our producer and a dear friend, is going to be putting up pictures of like food and that you can buy there. But you're saying that you're doing things to break up the lines, to make it easier. People don't have to stand in, there's been times when it's been 100-degree temperatures, and they would stand in line for an hour to get a plate of gyros.
Or gyros, if you want to.
Yeah.
But that's actually another benefit of being where we are now, because I can remember some pretty steamy festivals myself, even though I've only been here 10 years. But by being right there by the beach, and imagine just cool breezes coming over, and by the end of the month, the June gloom should be lifted a little bit. And I think rather than being too hot, being too cold, I think it's going to be just perfect.
Well, you're really going to be a little earlier than you used to be. Didn't you used to be the first weekend in August?
Well, depending on where Fiesta was,
Yeah.
It was always the week before Fiesta, so it ended up being either the last weekend of July or the first weekend in August.
So a month earlier, so it'll be less heat to fight.
Right.
Now, the old Greek festival, and when I say the old Greek festival, I'm just comparing the years at Earl Warren, not Earl Warren, that was the real old one, no, at Oak Park. Better parking. Now, the dance floor used to be a great gathering place. It used to have chairs all around the dance floor where frequently elderly people sat to watch the dancers, including non-professional dancers, when people got up and danced in lines. And is there going to be seating around your dance floor?
Yeah, well, now it's even easier, because any mobility impaired folks that would have trouble getting up the stairs to where the dance floor was before, it's going to be at ground level. It's a nice 40 by 40 dance floor. There'll be plenty of seating around it. And I'm glad you mentioned it, because someone that many of your viewers might know, because everybody knew Costa Frangos, who we lost as a parishioner a few years ago. He passed away.
He had the Greek restaurant on...
He didn't have a restaurant. I think he just traveled around and went to people's festivities. I think that was his full-time job. But he was at every gathering in Santa Barbara, political, religious, otherwise, and even over Southern California. So he's very well known, and he loved festivals. He was at every festival in the Southland. And he loved dancing, and the festival meant a lot to him. So in honor of him, we're doing the Costa Frangos Memorial Dance Floor. And the moment that we mentioned that we were naming this in his honor, and we asked if people would like to donate to help create it, we had a lot of donations come in for him to honor him. So
all around the area, and probably all around Southern California.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah, not just in Santa Barbara. So it's really I think it's a beautiful witness to how that Greek spirit spreading out through dance and through the festival really touched people, and he kind of embodied that. He was a festival guy.
To the south, where's the nearest Greek festival?
To the south, Camarillo, Ventura County one.
Yeah. Camarillo isn't Ventura anymore. You've got Ventura. You've got Oxnard.
Actually, that's a good point, because it was, even though it was in Camarillo, I believe, the church is in Camarillo, I believe the festival, no, because it was near the church. But anyway, it was close enough.
Yeah. Well, I just mentioned that because there was always people come, even youth dance groups, and coming from Ventura, Oxnard. And
this year we got them coming from Redondo Beach and from Northridge. So Redondo Beach, that's even further.
Yeah.
But we were recruiting some good talent. So unfortunately, we don't have the large numbers of youth to put on a really exciting show. So we reached out to these places that have established large numbers to put on a really exciting show for people. We have a DJ that we've worked with many years. If you've been to the Oak Park in the last few years, you recognize the DJ. We have live music from a group of, it's called actually 4 Greeks from Los Angeles. And they're 4 Greeks from Los Angeles. So
The
nice,
same group-
authentic music.
Same group that played at the dance floor, sort of during the breaks.
They haven't played for us before.
Oh,
But they're the ones that the entertainment committee is selected for this year, and so it's going to be nice to have live music back, and then the DJ actually is going to be filling in for the live band, so it'll be nice.
yeah, it sounds like a party.
It really is.
Food.
To celebrate Greek culture.
How about, what's a Greek liqueur?
Ouzo?
Yeah.
That's the one drawback about being there now, is that we couldn't have liquor. But we have the Greek beers, and we're going to have wine. So we're going to be, we definitely can't go without having any adult refreshments.
Right.
Right, but unfortunately not the ouzo this time.
So,
But
Greek wines?
I'm not sure what's on the list.
Well, there's got to be a good beer.
Oh, absolutely. So you have Greek beer, so.
So, you start at 2. When people get there, will food be already being prepared and ready for either a late lunch or an early dinner?
Absolutely, from the moment you walk through. And that's, we were talking earlier about the health department. They want to make sure that everything's safe and up to code. So they walk through and they want to see all of the booths up and ready to produce, so they know exactly what we're going to be doing. So when they walk through before 2 o'clock, they put their stamp on that they're satisfied with our precautions, and they turn us loose and we start serving.
And then they come back the next morning at 11 or 10 o'clock.
Yeah, every day, make sure that everybody's up to snuff.
That's what I love about government, answering a problem that doesn't exist. I don't remember anyone ever being hospitalized by eating anything at the Greek festival over
Right.
40 years.
Right.
But the health department, they get a fee too, don't they?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Oh, government.
So
We had a revolution about that. There were some Greeks in that revolution too, but most of them
what,
came.
Greeks in a revolution? Never.
Most of them came later. So when will the music start? At 2 o'clock on Friday,
Absolutely.
and dancing at 2 o'clock on Friday, or soon thereafter.
It will give people some time after they show up to warm up to the music and start dancing. But the music will start playing, so anybody can dance as soon as they want to.
So you'll have the typical group, conga lines? No, what do they call it in Greece? It's like a conga line.
Line dancing.
And you have dancing groups, professionals. Mm-hmm.
Well, not professional groups, but people that have been doing it their whole lives.
Well,
so from the churches,
yeah,
from the other churches.
Yeah. That's what I meant. I didn't mean paid professionals. I meant people that have done this for
Oh yeah,
eons.
It's part of their blood, part of their life.
With what do they sometimes have, a napkin in their mouth or something?
Holding it between performers, yeah, so the lead guy can feel free to emote and show off his masculinity and so on.
Masculinity and dancing. We Anglos don't understand that. When I was young, people said, well, you got to dance with this, 16, you got to dance with this girl, dance with that. And I said, you guys are out there doing the twist and going. I said, I only dance if I can hold her close. The girls like that. And then I just shuffle my feet and not really dance. You dance.
I do. I love dancing.
So what are you doing when you're not dancing? You're supposed to be working there. You're raising money. Do you walk around and say hello to people?
Well, my special passion has been the Lukumades booth. So
The what?
Lukumades, or for Anglos like yourself and me, they're fried dough balls. I found out every culture has some sort of fried dough. Of course, the Greeks are the best. They probably invented it. I'm sure they did. But light and airy dough balls that are covered with honey and, well, it's a special sauce with honey, among other things, and cinnamon and topped with nuts and
what other
wonderful
things?
treat.
When you say other things, I smell liqueur.
No liqueur. This is not an adult dessert. But cinnamon, cloves, spices, allspice, lemon.
You've been here 10 years. This area was quite an olive tree growing area, the Galita Valley. And in the 1800s, a lot of olive oil in Greek cooking. And yeah, so you're back to the tradition of Santa Barbara Galita. We even have a street named after it.
That's right.
Yeah, olive something. Yeah.
And before I arrived at the church, there was a time when those magnificent olive groves behind the church were used for harvesting olives and pressing our own olive oil.
Wow.
So they haven't been producing well over the past few years. So we're still trying to get the trees into shape so they're producing well so that we can return to doing that. But we love to bottle our own oil again.
Yeah, another fundraiser. You're always thinking, I'll buy it. I want a case. Oh, there's nothing like olive oil. I use it instead of butter or something to fry in, to cook eggs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Olive oil all over the pan, and it doesn't evaporate very quickly.
My wife has no experience with cooking with anything else.
Oh. Is your wife Greek?
She is.
You're not Greek.
100%. Only by association.
Did they adopt you?
I think they did. Yeah. Or as my T-shirt my mom bought me says, Greek by other means.
Children?
2 children.
How old are they now?
I have a 27-year-old daughter and a 24-year-old son.
Jeez, I think when we first met and first did a show, your son was in high school or just going off to college.
Yep.
You kept your daughter away from Santa Barbara men, so I never met her.
Yeah. Oh, she was in Ireland for a long time, and now she lives in Belgium. She's moving further and further away from us. My son's up in Seattle. He took the programming part of my genes and is a programmer with Amazon now. So.
Oh, great job.
Yep.
Seattle's a wonderful place. Do you go up there and visit ever?
We did go up and visit when he moved in last year. So, yeah, it's an amazing place.
Where did he go to school? UW?
No, he went to UC Santa Cruz.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he
Great
moved there
preparation.
after school for an Amazon job.
Yep. He had actually done 2 internships with them before he graduated, and they took him on.
Yeah. Well, my son-in-law and daughter are, my daughter's in education, runs a school of about 230 kids under high school, but my son-in-law's with Microsoft.
Okay.
And part of them getting him to re-sign with them was some stock bonuses. So every day I see and I think, Microsoft went up $3 today. Now is that 30 or 300 or 3,000 he gained?
Yeah, really.
Because I don't know the exact how many.
Well, see, that doesn't matter. I tried to get a job with Microsoft out of college just because I wanted to kayak to work. They had a nice facility on the river, but didn't work out.
Yes, they do. And Bill Gates liked the Puget Sound and the whatever the inward water is there, where they have boat racing, and it's God has given us some beautiful places.
Yes, like Santa Barbara.
I was going to say I don't know any. I only know one place that because I praise God every day when I go to Biltmore Beach or Goleta Beach or up in the foothills, but there's only one place that I praise him more, and that's Yosemite Valley. Yosemite Valley is his cathedral, and it's just...
I haven't been there yet. I have to go.
You've got to go. You decide to go, I'll be your tour guide, because I was kind of raised there because my brother worked there in the 40s and 50s, and it's God's cathedral. You can sit at, it's called Inspiration Point, and look at Half Dome and Yosemite Falls and Bridal Veil Falls, and if you go the right time of year, my record is 19 waterfalls as the snow was melting in the high country. Places that weren't waterfalls were just waterfalls over the granite rocks.
What's the right time of year?
Well, depending on the snow, it is usually April. April's probably best. May is good. And don't believe all the talk of it's too crowded. I mean, if you want to drive around a 8-mile loop at 50 miles an hour, it's not for you. But if you don't mind driving at 10, 15 miles an hour and enjoying the beauty and finding places to park, it's a real great.
Well, that's fine as long as they have a Greek festival.
I think you have to have a passport to get it. So I'm there. You're saying it's going to be easier to buy food. It's the long lines where they did the barbecue, and you'd come through and you'd buy a meal.
Right, and also keeps people moving because they're not going to sit down with a big meal and have to not be able to get up and dance for a long time because they have to finish the whole meal. So we hope it'll make it more fluid and active and a little more exciting that way.
And the non-meals, the gyros, correct me,
Gyro.
Yeah, are they also where you can get smaller portions rather than a whole meal? You don't have to stand.
Well, it's just that they're a la carte. Okay. We serve them individually, so you can easily hold whatever you buy and still walk around and mingle and look at all the things that we have to offer and watch the dancers.
Yeah, that's the a la carte always was a problem for me because I would be taking a bite as I was walking and somebody would slap me on the, "Hi, Jim!"
Well, don't wear your hat and then nobody will notice you.
Well, I went to the Greek festival long before wearing the hat. We're talking about my cowboy hat, which you don't get to see on the air. You don't even, if you have a mugshot, you don't even get to see it. When do you start? It's over at 9 o'clock each night. When do you start closing off services and closing off? Do you go right to 9 o'clock or start earlier?
So closing time is at 9, so I imagine that's when we have to start encouraging people to stop dancing. We'll stop playing at 9.
How
so
about
people will
eating?
start dispersing then.
How about stop eating?
Well, you don't want to eat too much while you're dancing.
No, but I want at 8:45 to fill a box with the next meal and take it home.
Oh yeah, everything's valid until 9 p.m. So,
okay.
So keep your buzzer on your watch so you save enough time to get your last for your journey home.
Now, the pricing, again, we aren't allowed to mention prices, but has the pricing skyrocketed double by inflation, like
No.
Biden inflation in restaurants? So
no, it's very reasonable compared to what you would get anywhere else in Santa Barbara. So.
Fairly reasonable compared to what it was 4 years ago?
Yes, but then new things like lamb and potatoes, which we haven't had before.
What?
Lamb and potatoes.
Lamb?
Yeah, special Greek potatoes.
I don't remember having lamb. That's my favorite white meat. And isn't that what they call lamb, white meat?
I don't know. We just call it lamb.
We, my animal rights friends hate this story, but we raised goats when I was in junior high school and high school.
Okay.
And you only wanted one billy. You could have as many nannies, you got milk from them, it was wonderful. But the second billy, at about 9 months, disappeared. And he came back at wonderful, about 5 pounds of meat when I used to be involved with the county fair's politics, and you had to, if you were in politics, if you had an assemblyman, senator, somebody, mayor, they had to bid on a lamb. And then the kids raised them to make money, and they know they were going to be butchered. And so they'd bid on it, and they'd go to the butcher, and then you'd pick up the meat later. And I had a butcher once tell me that you couldn't tell the difference between goat meat and lamb meat.
My goodness. Yeah, definitely a difference.
Well,
we're not serving goat meat. It'll definitely be lamb.
And not goat milk either.
No, not this time. Maybe next year.
Well, my son was raised on goat milk, and I loved goat milk, except 6 in the morning. Somebody's got to milk them.
Right.
So the morning was whether she got kicked out of bed or I got kicked out of bed to go.
Well, see, when we went to Greece on my honeymoon, that was my first experience with Greece, and we would have goat milk in the morning, and I was kind of iffy on milk as it was, but they would serve it warm, fresh from the goat.
Right.
That was a little too much for me.
Yeah, if you were lactose intolerant, you weren't lactose intolerant of goat milk. Something about it. I guess
it was interesting when I got involved with the Greeks. My dad told me, I should have known you'd be Greek. So why? He said, when you were little, that was the only thing we could give you, was goat milk.
Well, it's the healthiest of milks, and you can buy it in the supermarket now, but it has to be pasteurized. And that's...
Not just up to your chin?
You've got enough room up there on the San Antonio Road. If I wanted to put up a pen and raise a few goats, could we work out an economic relationship?
We could probably work out a deal. We already have a couple of beehives. So.
Do you have coyotes, though?
Haven't seen any coyotes.
Yeah. The dogs will drive coyotes away, but so will ostriches.
Really?
Yeah, they are the greatest protector of a field sheep or goats because...
Interesting.
Oh, they're mean animals. Yeah.
I did see a deer on the way to church today. It's the first time I've seen one. That was interesting.
When was that?
This morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it a doe or a buck?
Of course. Didn't have any horns, so.
So you couldn't shoot it. Oh, it's even in season you can't shoot them. I know people object to shooting deer even in season, unless you live. I think it's Pennsylvania, where they have 100 million, I think, deer. They're all over the place.
Really?
They're on the roads. They're just. San Marcos Pass here, people hit deer every once in a while, but I also have known people who have hit mountain lion or bobcat crossing up there. We have a lot of wildlife here. In Buellton, last week, right there at the main corner, there's a restaurant called Ellen's, and then there's Mother Hubbard's across from what used to be Pea Soup Anderson. and they had to euthanize a bear that had gotten into that restaurant overnight. And they, not euthanize, they had to put it to sleep.
Take it somewhere.
Oh, a big bear.
A
It
bear retreat.
almost took a crane to put it in the truck to take it somewhere.
Wow.
And,
I didn't realize there were bears in this area.
oh, yeah. When they were building La Cumbre Plaza 40 years ago, they had a real problem. They found a bear sleeping underneath one of the bulldozers. And so, yeah, we have wildlife in spite of ourselves. Hope Ranch, and I live up in North Patterson, and I've been driving along, and oops, there's a coyote. 11 in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, that's the one thing though that you don't want to see, particularly where you are, is a skunk during the daytime. They are nocturnal. If they're out during the daytime, they're rabid. Seriously. And they're very sick, and people want to pick it up and take it to, because it won't squirt, and they want to take it to a wildlife care center, and if they get bit, they've got 10, at least it used to be 10 days of terrible shots to keep the human being from being infected. Rabies isn't nice.
Not fun. No.
Do you have bats up there? You
I haven't
see them flying?
seen any bats either.
Okay. They're the most rabid animal. They're a mammal, and people don't realize that. And they have the most rabies particularly in this area. So you don't want to fight with a bat.
No, you're right. I don't.
COVID from China, was supposed to come from bats. I don't care about that. I've seen some bats here that you don't want to mess with either if they're out during the daytime.
Right.
So back to the Greek festival.
Yes.
In our we only have 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
Michael's going to show he's showing some food again. Let's see some food, Michael.
Well,
Michael's a great fan.
If he doesn't have any shots there, you can go to, does he have? Good, he has the website there, sbgreekfest.org. There's pictures and information about all the food, and there's the schedule for both days.
Is there pricing for the food in the website?
I don't remember if they put that up after they decided on the prices.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to not tell people. Get them there and then.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anyway what they were. No, you definitely won't be stuck. I think everybody's going to be very happy with their experience.
Good. So. Good. Well, I'll plan on eating there and plan on taking a single man. Got to take some home for the next day.
Right.
And so. Dancing, music, discussions, food. Used to be at Oak Park, opening each day, you had a little religious ceremony, prayer and everything. Do you still have time to do that before you open up?
Yeah, and that was because we used to do it on Sunday as well. Oh. And Sunday we had our liturgy there. Our regular Sunday liturgy. But because of the location where we are now, then all our parishioners get Sunday off so that they can come and worship on Sunday. So we're not going to be doing that because we are right where they do the art walk. So the city can't have anything going on while the art walk is there. They've reserved the park so that we're going to do Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we get to come back to normal.
Well, do you have leftovers and everything at your church on Sunday?
That's a good idea.
Nobody thought of that.
I'm sure somebody has. I didn't.
Yeah, that's another reason to come and sit in your sanctuary. Is it sanctuary?
You can call it that.
I can call it that, but is that what you call it?
We call it a church.
Oh.
The center part is the nave where people sit.
And yeah, That's probably what we call it too, except I always forget.
Yeah.
I haven't been around that long. Are your services more traditional, like the Presbyterians are an hour and 15 minutes with all the singing and everything? I don't know what the Catholics are exactly, but the Baptists are an hour and a half, or depending on the minister, 3 hours.
Okay, I see a joke coming here.
No. How long do you take in the full service?
So our liturgy, which is equivalent to a Catholic Mass, if you're familiar with that, so that liturgy, on its own, freestanding, is a little under an hour. But with everybody on Sunday, when everybody's there and they're receiving communion, then it takes about an hour and 20 minutes.
You serve communion every Sunday?
We do.
Now, the Presbyterians serve grape juice.
Mm-hmm.
The Catholics, I know some are given wine, but others in their group as they go around are given grape juice. The priest always gets wine. What do you serve as the blood of Christ?
The blood of Christ. But before we pray that the Holy Spirit will transform it into the blood of Christ, it is wine. And there was, when I was in catechism long ago, the priest that was giving the class, who's now a bishop, remember somebody raised that question and he said, but wasn't it really grape juice that they had? And he got very angry and went to the board, very deliberately wrote the word inos. And he said, if you said krasi, which is a modern word for wine, he said, maybe you could have justified it with something, but inos is something that can only be fermented grapes, and it is wine. It is definitely wine.
So when Christ turned water into wine, it wasn't grape juice?
Correct. Okay. That was wine. It was the best wine.
That's right. That's right. The courtier or aide said to the groom, why did you save the best wine to last?
Yeah, when everybody's already drunk freely.
Yeah. Yeah, my old Baptist father said, no, it was always grape juice. And I said, Alexander the Great, have I told you this? Alexander the Great, when he conquered Persia and defeated Cyrus the Great, had 120 of his generals. They had a massive party and everything. And the tradition is that 120 of his generals drank themselves to death. You don't do that on grape juice.
Right.
Yeah. So, do you give a homily or a sermon, whatever it's called in your tradition?
Yes.
So that's part of the liturgy?
Yes, and it's it's shorter than Protestants churches are used to, because for us, the central point of the worship service is the communion, is the receiving the body and blood of Christ. So we would never have a service without that. Might have a service once in a while without a homily, but...
So one of the problems with our churches as people get older is there aren't always people who can come forward to the priests or the elders and get their communion. Do you have elders, or do you yourself serve those who are in a wheelchair or in the pew?
I do. We're a small parish, so we don't have any deacons. We don't. It's easy to reach everybody, but yeah, somebody that can't come up to the altar to receive, I will go down into the congregation. I will take it to them.
Now, do you do the commitment where Christ gave the bread and the wine and the direction to use it as his feast? Do you do that when you go down into the to someone, do it again, or do you do that just once?
Well, just once.
Okay.
We
They better be awake and thinking.
That's right.
Back to the Greek festival in our last 30 seconds. No, 3 minutes. So on Saturday, same thing. 2 o'clock, you're serving, you're ready, music, dancing,
Yep.
food, and who's putting up all the tables? Where are they coming from?
From our church. It's all volunteers from our church, and volunteers from our church are making all of the food too. All of the pastries, all of the casserole, the gyros, the loukoumades, everything is things that we put together.
At Oak Park, the cooking, the pastries, everything were from your church. But I know some Baptists and Presbyterians that volunteered to help serve, to help barbecue. Do you still accept non?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, there are people in the community that love our parish and love the festival and have always called and asked to help. We have a number of people from the mission, and when I first got here every year, I would see Father Larry there, who from the mission, who would come and serve right alongside us.
Oh, that's wonderful. Ecumenical, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Do you expect Greeks from pastor, what are you called, priests, from churches to the south to come up and spend some time at the festival?
Absolutely. Well, I've served at a couple of different parishes, and I know people that in all of the parishes that have called me and said, "Great, I'm coming up. When can I work? And how do I be a part of it?"
Do they sleep on the grounds of the church, or do they commute? No, I'm kidding. Well, it's going to be a great weekend.
It is.
It's
I can't wait.
2 weeks from now.
Is it 2 weeks?
Okay. 18th. This is the what? 13th.
It is.
Yeah, and it's the 28th, so that's 15 days from now. Opening day, and can't come quick enough, and can't last long enough.
Amen.
Yeah, and so we're really looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you dance. And no, you're a good dancer. That was once your profession, I think we mentioned.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to the church, but it is a greater blessing to our community. Thank you. Can I call you Father Bob?
Please do. You know my number.
Oh, I hate people who think as quick as I do.